Dear students, today we are going to look at one of the intelligence theory, a very famous intelligence theory given by Sternberg. It's called the Sternberg's Triarchic theory. And according to Sternberg, there are three main components or three essential sub-theories. That is the componential, experiential, and the contextual sub-theories. Or these are the different types of intelligence that constitute and that is present in a person. So these three sub-theories include many various processes, and these sub-theories or these processes affect the performing of different cognitive tasks of a person. Okay, now we will look at what are the different the components that will come under each of these three sub-theories. So, componential subtheory, what experiential subtheory, and contextual subtheory. These are the three theories given by Sternberg. So, let's look at what did he mean by componential, experiential, and contextual. So, according to Sternberg's triarchic theory of intelligence, there are three types. That is the componential or analytical intelligence. So, in analytical intelligence means the way an individual think abstractly and process info effectively. Okay, the all of our analytical skills, which we're about to think critically or academic skills, all will come under this componential subtheory or the analytical intelligence. Then comes the experiential subtheory or the creative intelligence. So in the experiential subtheory, we formulate, or in the creative intelligence, we are able to formulate new ideas. Okay, so a person who is creative can combine ideas. I mean, can come up with new ideas while combining different sets of informations or concepts that are very unrelated, and according to a person, lay person, these are very unrelated and we won't be able to link these concepts. That is the experiential subtheory. And then comes the contextual or the practical intelligence. For people with this practical intelligence, the Sternbergs call them the street smart. So they can shape the environment. Okay, they can maximize their strength and compensate their weaknesses by shaping their environment by selecting and through different processes. Okay, now we'll look at all the sub theories in detail. So these are the components of these three sub-theories. That is, under the combinational sub-theories comes different aspects, that is the meta components, performance components, and the knowledge acquisition. Then comes the novel in experiential sub-theory. The categories or the aspects of experiential sub-theory are the novelty and the automation. And in the contextual sub-theory comes adaptation, selection, and shaping. Now let's look at these aspects in detail. So as we were discussing in the last slide, the aspects of combinational sub-theory are the meta components, performance components, and the knowledge acquisition components. So what is meta components? So meta components are higher order mental processes. So uh, you might have heard about the metacognition, right? What is metacognition? Thinking about uh, our own thinking. Okay, in simple words, thinking about what we are thinking. So all the mental processes that we are happening, we analyzing or we thinking about it, doing or analyzing it, plan, monitor about the things on or the way we are doing. That is the metacognition. So similarly, the meta components, Sternberg, the Sternberg is defining meta components as also the higher order mental processes that determine which performance and learning components will be used. So while I'm analyzing or while I'm learning, while I'm thinking or while I'm problem solving any particular things, the way I think about it or the way I decide that these are the ways I should think, or these are reflecting on the ways we are doing or thinking, all that comes under the meta components. Okay, they activate the performance and the knowledge acquisition components. So the meta components are the very higher order mental processes, and this in turn activated the other two components, that is the practice component and the knowledge acquisition component. Now let's come to the performance components. So the performance components are the lower order processes. So the meta components are higher order processes, but performance components are the lower order processes, and they are the basic processes involved in our intellectual activities such as planning, whatever we do with our intelligence. So these processes in the things that come under performance components are encoding, combination, comparison, and response. So actually the encoding is concerned with the initial perception and storage of new information. Okay, you know encoding, you know how other theories of intelligence and memory talk about encoding, how we perceive and store information, that is encoding. And combination comparison is how we combines two or more concepts and we compare all these uh, concepts and things or the information that we store, and the response we give back. Okay, all this comes under the performance components. All these processes are happening under the performance components of the componential subtheory. Now, for here is an example how inductive reasoning tasks such as matrices and analogies, they involve a set of performance components. For example, encoding, inference, mapping, application, comparison, justification, and response. Okay. Now let's look at the knowledge acquisition components. So what is knowledge acquisition components? This lower order, so both performance component and knowledge acquisition components are lower order mental processes. So according to this knowledge acquisition components, they help to discover what knowledge and information are needed to solve the problem. Okay, so whatever knowledge are needed to solve this particular problem, when we are taking from what we have stored or what we have encoded, that is the knowledge acquisition components. And according to Sternberg and Davidson, there are three types of selectivity. So in the analogical reasoning, that is the selective encoding involving sifting and relevant from irrelevant information, and then comes the selective combination and the selective comparison. So we were talking about how the encoding, combination and comparison are the processes that come under the performance, right? So according to Sternberg and Davidson, there are three types of selectivity. That is, the selective encoding, selective combination, and selective comparison. Here we selectively do things. Okay, we take the relevant information, we combine the relevant pieces or isolated pieces, and we do compare the relevant, relatively newly acquired information. Okay, now let's look at the contextual subtheory. So we looked at the combinational subtheory. Now let's look at the contextual subtheory. What does the contextual subtheory talks about? So in the contextual, as I mentioned earlier, contextual subtheory talks about the practical intelligence. So the aspects that comes under contextual intelligence is how to adapt to the present environment. When an environment, wherever environment we are being presented to, how do we adapt to it? Okay, that is a very skill that a very few people have. Then comes selection of a more optimal, nearly optimal environment. When there are more than one environment present to us, we be able to think about the optimal environment that fits with our needs and our interest. Selecting that, it's also comes under the contextual intelligence. Okay, not necessarily everyone is able to do that. And shaping of the present environment. Okay, so when most of our problems happen when there is a misfit happening on the environmental demands and of our interest, our skill set, and the way we process and deal with things. So in a person who have this contextual intelligence or the practical intelligence, they are able to shape the present environment. First they will try to adapt to the present environment, they will try to select a nearly more optimal environment from the ones they have, and if both of that doesn't work, they try to shape the environment to better fit to one's skills, interest or values. Okay, so yeah, as I was explaining before, it is the normal cause of intelligent functioning in the everyday world entails adaptation to the environment, and when the environment does not fit one's values, aptitudes or interest, one may attempt to shape environment so as to achieve a better person environment fit. And when this shaping fails, an attempt may be made to select a new environment that provides a better fit. Alternatively, one may attempt to shape the old environment when the selection fails. So suppose I was, for an example in the real life scenario, suppose we get into a very new situation. For example, me getting into, suppose you got into a very new college in a very new city, and this is the first time you're getting out of your house, or you're from away from your family. This is your first time. That time, what is it? It is a very new environment, and the practical intelligence or the experience or this contextual intelligence involves you being able to adapt to this new environment. If you are not able to adapt to this environment, you try to find an optimal environment in which you can link your interest skills, and you can find a perfect person environment fit. You try to make friend, you can try to change colleges or look for other options. But if both of them you feel that's not able, you're not able to do that, you go for the third, that is you shape the present environment or the old environment that the college that is given to you, try to shape it and to make a perfect person environment fit. So people who are very practically intelligent or who has this contextual sub theory, they are more often able to do this. And the course of intelligent function goes from adaptation to optimal decision of the optimal environment, I mean choosing of an optimal environment, and then both when shaping and the attempt to select a new environment fields, we go to shape the old environment. Okay, now let's look at the experiential subtheory. So as we were talking before, discussed before, experiential subtheory involves the creative intelligence. What is creative intelligence? That is, uh, we are able to combine concepts or ideas that seems very irrelevant, or that seems they don't won't fit together. But a person who have creative intelligence sees there's new ideas or these new concepts where we can bring or integrate two or more concepts or two or more things, two or more ideas to form a very original creative idea. Those people are intelligent. So here in this experiential sub theory, Sternberg talks about how the important aspects of experiential subtheory are the novel task. Okay, so for one to show or about the intelligence to be demonstrated, there should be a relatively novel task or situation, then only this creative intelligence come into play. And the next aspect that Sternberg argues or talks about in his theory is the process of automatizing performance of a given task. When a task is given to that person, how easily or how the person can automatize the given task and make it easier for them. So these are the aspects that comes under the triarchic theory given by Sternberg.